Hello, I'm Fort Bend County Sheriff Eric Fagan. As a husband and a father, I understand that the family is the core of making progressive steps forward, and I am proud to call Fort Bend my family.
Sheriff Eric Fagan is the first Black sheriff of Fort Bend County in 151 years since Walter Moses Burton before him, and he has truly risen up to the occasion. Since taking office in 2021 and his re-election in 2024, Sheriff Fagan has upheld diversity and inclusion on his staff, as well as through his policies and procedures. He has created and enhanced several special programs, including the Police Reform Transition Team, the Gang Task Force, and the Human Trafficking Task Force. During his first term, he shut down more than 30 human trafficking operations. He earned both his bachelor's degree in criminal justice and his master's degree in Juvenile Forensic Psychology from Prairie View A&M University. Created in memory of his son, Patrick Wayne Fagan, Patrick's project has awarded $136,000 in scholarships to high school seniors, and he is a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Incorporated. I hope that you will gain as much insight and wisdom from our conversation as I did. It's so good to see you.
You as well. And I also understand you're from Spelman?
I am. I do go to Spelman, and I don't know if you remember, but we actually bumped into each other. We actually met each other in person at Spelman.
Were you over there by the police station?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and we took a picture together because I don't know if you were here for a conference, but I know you said your daughter.
Yeah, she graduated from Spelman.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So I just thought, it was funny that was where we happened to first meet, But it's good to see you. And thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
One of the reasons that you're so inspiring is because you're actually the first Black sheriff of Fort Bend County, Texas, since Walter Moses Burton, 151 years before your own election. And I just wanted to know your take on that. Like, what does that milestone mean to you? And do you even find that you and Walter have any similarities?
Well, I feel very honored, and actually we have a lot similarities. Walter Burton, when he became sheriff of Fort Bend, he came from slavery. A lot of people don't know it. That name came from his owner, but he had an owner at the time that he did something illegal by teaching Walter Burton how to read and write. And also, Walter Burton was one of the richest landowners in Fort Bend County, being Black or white. Between the both, he was one of the richest. But after leaving the sheriff's office, he became a senator. When he became a senator, he started a normancy school. Him and another representative started a normancy school to have freed African-American slaves who just became free so they can go to school to learn to read and write. Well, that school, that normancy school he started, is now, a lot of people don't know, is Prairie View A&M University, where I went to school.
Right.
So we have that in Scott. He started the school that I ended up going to and graduating from. And who would ever knew that me coming from there one day will become the sheriff of Fort Bend County after him. So we have a lot of things in common. So I feel like I'm standing on some great shoulders.
You definitely are, and I think it definitely came full circle in a way.
Yes.
And speaking of sheriffs that came before you, I wanted to know what you think might make you different than the sheriffs that came before you, especially knowing the culture and environment with racial tensions that we've had to face in the last 15 years.
Well, one thing that I wanted to do when I became sheriff of Fort Bend County is one of the most diverse counties. Well, not even one of the most. It is the most diverse county in the state of Texas. But what I saw at the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, it didn't reflect that on the command staff. The command staff at the Sheriff's Office was all of one color, just this one color. And it didn't show the diversity the tapestry of Fort Bend County. So I wanted to bring people who were qualified. And that's the main thing I want to make sure everyone understands, who are most qualified into the command staff, because we wanted our children to let them see someone that looked like them in a command position so they know they could do that as well. So on my command staff, I have African Americans, I have South Asians, I have Caucasians, I have people from the Pacific Island on my command staff, Hispanics on my command staff. So the people of Fort Bend County can see someone that looks like them. Sometimes we have to understand the culture of that household we're going to, whereas we might go somewhere, we'll think it's strange, like that's not normal. Why would you do that? That's not normal. But if I have someone on my command staff or on patrol who understands that culture, we can better work with the community to help keep it safe and have the people of Fort Bend County feel comfortable when we come there.
You've been so impactful, even through your words that you've spoken today. And an example of your material impact is that you established Patrick's Project in honor of your son, Patrick's memory. And it has awarded $136,000 in scholarships to high school students. Do you think you could speak on the impact you believe Patrick's Project has had on your community and how we can learn more about it?
Patrick's Project it was done in honor of my son. My son tragically passed away while he was his freshman year in college in a tragic car accident. So we wanted to do something in his memory. He went to college on kind of a scholarship in tennis. He was a big tennis player. There's not a lot of African Americans who are in tennis. And he always wanted to give back to minorities, saying that we don't always have to be basketball players or football players, things like that. What about tennis? What about education? These type of things. That was big with him to give back. So we wanted to do that in his honor. So we started this scholarship. And what you can do, we put on this thing called Jokes and Justice. What that is a comedy show we put on here in Houston at the Houston Improv, where we have famous comedians who come in, donate their time and their talent to this show for a very nominal fee. They come in and they put on a comedy show where law enforcement, people in the judicial field, lawyers, judges, police officers come together with regular men and women of the community. They come together where we all sit together and we can enjoy a laugh, and they pay tickets to come, and we use that money for scholarships for boys and girls who wants to go to school that can't afford to pay for a book. When I went to school, a book cost, which I thought was crazy. I had a book that cost like $250. Today, you probably laugh at that amount because you have books sometimes over $300, $400, $500 for a book. Well, this scholarship that we give out, the money goes straight to the student, not to the school. We give it straight to the student so they can pay for that book or pay for clothing they may want to buy, anything to help them at that school. So Jokes and Justice is something we do every year in honor of my son, Patrick's Project, to raise money to give back to struggling kids coming out of high school so they can get a foot up to start their education.
That's wonderful, and it's so honorable of you to start that project in your son's memory. Of course, I know we both know that we're brat and soror.
Yes.
What do you think was the major crux of why you decided that Phi Beta Sigma was the fraternity for you?
Well, it was a lot of things, but the main thing was this. I believe in service. I believe in we have to be a service to others, to lift up others, to lift up ourselves. Like I said, I'm a very religious person, and my beliefs are that my Lord and Savior came to be of service, to help others. And you know, our motto, a culture for service, service for humanity. When I heard that motto of Phi Beta Sigma, that vibrated with me.
With that said, what is your take on the Divine Nine? What do you think makes the Divine Nine so special?
The Divine Nine is so special because of this. Divine Nine, a lot of people don't know this, that the sororities and fraternities, they help with the women's suffrage. They also marched during the boycotts during the 60s to bring rights to African Americans. They were there in all these different things, making sure women had the right to vote, making sure African Americans had the right to vote, that we didn't have to go fought against these different poll taxes we had to do. The fraternities, the different fraternities and sororities were on the front lines when they were doing that. Martin Luther King was an alpha. All these different fraternities and sororities, they came together to help do these things. The Deltas were very big in the women's suffrage. The AKAs were very big in that as well. The Kappas worked along with the march against civil rights. For us to have civil rights, the Kappas was there, the Alphas was there, the Sigma, the Omegas. We come together as a force, not just to help the Pan-Atlantic Council, but to help the wider community, to help all of our people. But to help our people, it's helping everyone. People misunderstand that a lot of times. By helping us, we're helping America as a whole. And we're needed now today more than ever, what we see going on in our country right now. And what can we do about that? But what we can do is we need to bring people to the polls. We need to vote. We need to vote. They're trying to take away rights that we had for centuries. We're going backwards. They want us to go backwards. Well, like a past person, I can't think of his name, but he always said, a good fight. We have to be about the good fight. There's nothing wrong with the proper standing up for what's right properly. It's nothing wrong with standing against the government when the government is doing something wrong.
Exactly. And another common fear that has risen among Americans is the fear of the possible increasing of insecurity and of the future of HBCUs. Now, I do know that you went to an HBCU, Prairie View A&M University, for both your bachelor's and your master's.
Yeah.
How has attending an HBCU influenced your approach to leadership?
Well, at a young age, when I was at Prairie View, they taught me the importance of being me, that I had nothing to be ashamed of. I was as good, if not better, than any counterpart. We had the education. They taught us that. They instilled, just like my mother instilled into me and all my brothers and sisters. The future is ours to take control of. If we know who we are and whose we are, we come from a great people, truly kings and queens. And they're trying to take away African American studies. But African American studies is American studies. It's how this country grew. We're not taking anything away from anyone else. It's all vibrant. It's a tapestry. So to take that away, that's taking a string, a piece of fabric out of the history. We have to make sure that if they don't teach it, we teach each other at home the great things that we did to make this country great.
I was wondering, what is a message that you would like to leave with HBCU students in general?
Well, I'd like to leave this message. You are our futures. You are the ones that can bring us out of the trouble we're in today. You're in the best place right now to get that education. When I go to career day to speak to kids at different schools and things like that, I always tell them this. I might be sitting in front of someone right now today who has the cure for cancer. We haven't cured it yet, but one of you will cure that one day. And I could be sitting before that person who's going to do that. I could be sitting before that person who's going to one day bring the country and bring all these different races and cultures together, to let us know that how far we can go if we work together. That person hasn't come yet here until Christ come back again, but I hope they do it before he comes back, to show true brothers and sisterhood against all people, all people. Like Martin Luther King says, to do some damage, to discriminate against one culture is a discrimination against all cultures. There's an old saying, when they came for the Jews, I said nothing because I wasn't a Jew. So when they came for the Catholics, I said nothing because I wasn't Catholic. When they came for the Muslims, I said nothing because I wasn't Muslim. But when they came for me, there was no one there because I did nothing to stop them from doing anything to others. So there was no one there to help me in my time of need. That's the thought we should think about. That's the thought the HBCUs and the fraternities and everything should think about when they're coming out. You're the change maker. You're the one who's going to bring us out. So that's the final thought. We're waiting for you to come out and help us to do even better.
And before I close my interview, I sometimes like to ask people to give me their favorite quote that might have impacted their lives. So, Sheriff Fagan, what is a quote that you keep close to your heart and that may have impacted your own life?
Well, it's more of a verse than a quote, that I can do all things through Christ that strengthened me. That's something that is a motto of mine, that I know I can do all things. And what does all things mean? Well, all mean all. So any endeavor I choose to go in, long as I keep Christ first, he'll give me the ability to accomplish that. And whatever your faith is, if you keep God first, you can go a very, very long way.
Thank you so much for your words of wisdom that you've imparted on my audience. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye, Sarah.
Bye, Pride. It's so nice meeting you again.
You too, again.